welcome back for another episode of Show Off Your CI/CD Pipeline. Today I'm very proud to have ChatGPT with me, which I'm going to have a conversation about CI/CD pipelines. First, I started asking him what a CI/CD pipeline is and why it is important for a software as a service project. Actually, he was able to give the 5 most important things that I believe a CI/CD pipeline brings you, which is faster release cycles, improved quality, consistency, collaboration, and cost savings. This was really cool and really fun because it is exactly a good explanation that I use when I talk to other people about this as well. I then asked him, how do we define an immutable artifact? Because this is a key aspect of modern CI/CD pipelines, is that you build the immutable artifact at the beginning of your CI/CD pipeline, and that artifact does not get changed afterwards. He gave a detailed explanation and also gave some thoughts around where to store artifacts and how to do that. So this was really fascinating, right? Then we moved over to ask him to build a Typescript Lambda function using CDK. He gave a very good explanation on how to build that project or start that project. He also gave some details on how to deploy it. I didn't like the first answer because it was based on Bash. So I asked him again, and the second answer was then a little bit more accurate, where he explained the pipeline code, the pipeline process. However, he did not really give the information around how to really build that at the end, right? So he explained how the pipeline should look like, which is a very good understandable thing, especially for starters. I then asked him to now provide the code, which is what he also effectively did, right? He provided the CDK code for the Lambda function that you would need to set this up. As the next thing, my idea was, okay, let's, after having the Lambda function, let's now go ahead and add an API gateway into that. And ChatGPT understood that question. So I don't know if it's a she or a he, right? So let's go with she for the next few minutes. So she was able to build the CDK code for us and write the CDK code so we can directly use that then to provision the infrastructure. It also explains what happens as part of this code, which was really good. So you can really understand why and how he did things. I then asked him to provide a CDK pipeline. So I wanted him to use the CDK pipeline construct, which allows us to deploy in waves and things like that. When asking that question, the chatbot focused on giving us answers how to use code pipeline and code build, but not using the construct that CDK pipelines has today. I think that's not really a problem because the solution that was provided also works, but it would have been good to have the other part of the solution as well, right? But still it provided a complete solution, right? So here it stopped outputting stuff, but this might have been on my side. Then I said, okay, cool. If I don't want to use CDK pipelines, let's move over to use GitHub Actions. And I asked the tool to provide me the GitHub Actions tool code, right? And yeah, this worked out as well. So it was able to give me the different steps that I require to deploy a CDK app completely and make it available. Also, once again, explanations. So it's not just the code, it's a lot of information around why and how to do things and what other prerequisites are missing. Now, I wanted to understand why there is no static code analysis in the pipeline. And the tool decided, yes, well, I missed that step. And it was able to add it, right? Which is a part that I'm cutting off here. But it was adding the linter, which we would need as the next thing. So then I asked him to include a secret scanner in the CDK pipeline code, which was referring to a question that I had asked a few steps before that, right? But still, the tool was able to refer to the pipeline that had been built before, and then he was able to add Code Guru to the existing pipeline code. So really amazing. The model that I'm using here is the Model 3 as I have not paid for getting the Model 4. Now I asked the tool if there is other important steps that we might be missing as part of this pipeline to follow best practices. And actually the answer were, well, we miss the automatic testing, we miss additional security scans, we miss approvals on the way to production, and we miss a rollback strategy. And also we don't have any performance monitoring in place. This was also a very good answer. I now wanted to see if the tool is already able to use Code Catalyst. So I asked the tool, how do we get a Code Catalyst workflow? And he was not able to really replicate that. So that's why I cut this part out. That was not really helpful, right? Especially as it moved over to using a Docker-based deployment, right? Which we didn't want to do here. Yeah, that was not really a good answer. But maybe that's because Code Catalyst is that new, right? Now I wanted him to explain an acronym to me, which is DPRA, right? He did understand the DPRA acronym as being something else than I wanted it to be. So I stopped generating the response and explained it to him or to her, right? So I said it's the deployment pipeline reference architecture. And after asking that detailed question, the tool was really able to give me additional information around the DPRA, and I think that's also the same explanation that I would be giving to other individuals that ask me that same question. Now I asked the tool a question that I had discussed with Linda lately around do you think that pre-commits should be part of a CI/CD pipeline? Because I've seen community builders using pre-commit hooks and others not using pre-commit hooks. And this was also an interesting answer, which exactly matches what I think, right? Pre-commit hooks can be added as part of your CI/CD process, but they are not required. Now, after getting all of the information, all of the pieces of code, right, I needed to understand how do I structure my project. And in this case, the answer from ChatGPT was also on spot with a lot of detailed explanations on what the different files are, what the different directories are. So I really liked that idea, that visualization as well, right? So here, I believe that this can change the way that we deliver software, not only CI/CD pipelines, but also other parts of the software going forward. So it was a fun thing and a fun experience. And thank you so much for watching.